Today we're taking a look at the ProLogic web link and how to set it up on the network. It connects to the network using this device, which we call a wireless access point. You'll see that the wireless access point has some LEDs on the front that'll light when it's powered. It also has a connection for the network, a connection for power, and then this little reset button here allows you to put it into pairing mode. So we're going to go ahead and set this up to connect to our WebLink software on our server. Here's how you do that. First of all, you download an app called WAPSet onto your iPhone or Android. You'll see it here. In order to use the app, you need to first activate. You can click on About App to read about the app. Now, to activate, click the Activate button. Enter the required information and click Send Request. You will see this confirmation screen indicating the request has been sent successfully. You'll receive an email with your activation code. To log in, enter the email address and enter your activation code. Then click Activate. Now you're ready to begin. Click the image of the WAP. For this setup, we'll need both the wired WAP and the entry pad. The app programs the WAP via the entry pad. So I'll just switch back to the camera and you can see that we have the wired WAP. We call it a wired WAP because it connects by network cable directly to the network. We will eventually have a wireless WAP as well. And of course we have the entry pad connected to two lock bodies here. So we'll switch back to the app. Yes, I have both. So you click on OK, I have both. And now it says select configuration for the WAP. We click on the down arrow and you can either select a new template that we're going to do now or a template that I've done previously. I'm going to do a new template. And it's going to say, what is the template name? So let's call this BG Demo. And the internet protocol that I want to use, I can either use dynamic or static. I'm going to use dynamic in this case, please, because it'll automatically find an IP address appropriate for its use. Click on DHCP. Now it's asking you to enter the lock server, and this is the address, the IP address, where the software is installed. You'll have to get that from your software administrator, but I'll enter 47.180.233.134. Done. It is also asking for the lock server port. Again, this comes from your software administrator, but I'm going to enter 1883, which is ours. Click on Done, and click on Save and Continue. Now, it's asking you to name this wireless access point. So usually you use a location name like store 123 or office number 1. In my case, I'm going to use BG Office. And then it asks me to confirm BG Office. And click on Done. Then click on Next. Now it says follow these instructions to set up the wired WAP. First, plug in power to the wired WAP, and then next, connect the wired WAP to the network using an Ethernet cable. I'm going to switch to the camera so you can see how we do that. So here's the wired WAP. First, I'm going to plug in power. So this is plugged into AC power, and I'm going to plug that into the WAP here. You'll see this light on that's already turned on, indicating I have power. And then I'm going to connect to the network. And that's all that the app has asked me to do at this point. You'll see there's a little yellow light there showing that I have network connection, or I'm at least connected to a network. Let's go back to the WAP and click on Next. Now it says on the entry pad, press Menu OK and scroll to System Info using the up or down buttons, and then press Menu OK. Take note of the device ID. So let's go and do that. So I'm going to press Menu, down to System Info and press OK. And it says device ID 20230036. Now back again. Let that go to sleep. Now we're going to go back to the WAP and we say, all right, I know the device ID. Now click on Next. What it's now going to do is search by Bluetooth to find that entry pad. And you'll see that it's found it already. So we click on that device ID. It says enter the supercode for this particular device. So we know that it is default, so it's 11111100, but yours may not be default. You can click on the show button here to see it, and click on Next. And now it's saying I'm connecting to that device. And now it shows that it has connected and it's uploaded the information necessary. Click on Next. All right, now it says if the entry pad display is not blank, press the back button to put the entry pad in standby mode. We've already done that. And then it says press Menu OK and then the number 2. It'll ask you to enter the supercode, and then the entry pad screen will display the location name. Press Menu OK to confirm, and that's at the very top of the screen. The display will now read waiting for WAP connection. But first of all, let's go to the camera and show you what we're going to do there. So we're going to press Menu 2. It says Set WAP. Enter code 11111100. And it says WAP BG Office. That's what I named it. Press OK. At the very top, you see that? Press OK. It's waiting for connection. It's starting to count down. Let's go back to the WAP and see what we have to do. So we click on Next here. And now it says on the WAP, double-click the Reset button with your finger, or I use a poking tool, usually a paperclip or something, until the run light starts flashing quickly. So let's switch back to the camera. There's the little reset button. And you see that that's now flashing quickly. On the entry pad, it says waiting for connection, and it actually connected immediately and WAPSet successful. So let's go back to the app. Click on Next. Now it says the entry pad will indicate the program is being transmitted to the wired WAP. The entry pad display will show set WAP success, which it did, when the process is finished. If it was unsuccessful, you could click the green button, but in our case it was successful, so we click Next. And it says the wired WAP setup has been completed. Would you like to set up the entry pad? Well, yes, we would. We want to name the entry pad, so click on Yes. It says select the number of locks that will be connected to the entry pad. I'm going to select 2 and click on Next. Now it says enter the details of the entry pad. What is the current supercode? We're going to enter 11111100. Now it's going to say enter the new code. Let's make the new code 23232300 and confirm 23232300. And now it says enter a location name, and this must be unique. So in this case, I'm going to use BG Office Demo. Done. It says confirm BG Office Demo. And done. And now it says click on Next. On the entry pad, press the Menu OK button, scroll to System Info and press Menu OK and take note of the device ID. This is similar to what we did before. So back to the camera, Menu, System Info, OK. You'll see the device ID is 0036. Press the back button. Now let's go back to the app. Press on the Next button, and it's going to find it, which it did. Click on that one. It's applying the settings, and the settings have now been applied. Click Next. It says next, pair and name the lock to the entry pad. You can click on Learn More to see how to pair the locks. I'll show you a detailed example in the following video. Follow the instructions in the app to set the number of locks to be controlled by this entry pad. All right, first, we're going to use the CB11 junction box in order to connect the entry pad to the junction box and then the first lock to the junction box as well. So how we do that is in our normal application, of course, we have the entry pad connected directly to the lock. In this case, we're going to disconnect this and we're going to connect it to the port marked J0. And on the top of the junction box, you'll see port indications. J0 is the input. So we're going to connect that there. The next thing we're going to do is take another cable and we're going to connect it to J1, and that is the location for the first lock. And what we have to do now is tell this first lock that it is in fact the first lock. So how we do that is we do a mechanical reset. So using the cable that I've connected to the junction box, I would take a paper clip and on the back of the lock find the reset hole. In order to name this first lock, we're going to press the reset button down 3 times. That just eliminates any power that's in the capacitors inside the lock. Now we're going to press down and hold, and while we've held it down, we're going to connect the lock cable, which is connected to the junction box, to that lock and continue to hold for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can now release. Now, in order to name this lock, I would enter my code and it will ask me which lock I want to open. I'll select lock number 1 because I've only got one lock connected, and it will name this lock as lock number 1. So I enter the supercode, and you'll see it says verified, then it says select lock. I say 1, and it'll send a signal to this lock, so this lock opens. This lock is now named in the memory of this system as lock number 1. We can now go ahead and name the second lock that we're going to connect to this. All right, so in order to name this second lock that we're going to introduce, this is going to be a slam bolt we're going to put on the interior compartment. We need to do the similar process. So we're going to connect this lock to this entry pad through the junction box, and we're going to use the reset process in order to name it. Now the reset hole can usually be found underneath this little round sticker. It's a QC sticker, and we just want to remove that, and you'll find the reset hole right here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to disconnect lock number 1. And this is done so that you don't confuse the system by looking at different things when we're naming it. So we've disconnected lock number 1, and now we're going to connect lock number 2. We do that by using another cable, plug it into one of the other ports. I usually use the next port, so J2, 3, and 4, but it really doesn't matter. Once you've named it, it doesn't matter which port it's connected to. So with the cable connected, we now use the reset hole. We press 1, 2, 3, continue to press down and hold, and now we plug in our lock cable that's coming from the junction box. And you can hear with the spring bolt lock, the motor actually cycles when you plug it in. Count for 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Now, we enter our supercode. It's going to verify and say, which lock do you want to open? We're going to say lock number 2. And lock number 2 now opens. In opening this lock, it has named this lock, lock number 2. All right, so now we can connect lock number 1 and lock number 2, and the system will be ready to operate. I'll show you how that works. All right, so I've got lock number 1 and lock number 2 connected to a junction box, connected to the ProLogic entry pad. I'll just show you how you operate it. So in order to operate this lock, I could enter a user code or a supercode or a manager code, and I will then select the lock I want to open. So let's enter the manager code. It's verified. It'll ask me which lock I want to open. I'll say lock number 1, and lock number 1 will open. You notice lock number 2 didn't open. So now I'll show you lock number 2. I enter my manager code or user code. It's going to verify, and then I select lock number 2, and lock number 2 opens. Now let's go back to the app and continue the process. It's now asking if the WAP has been connected to the customer's network and the safe is installed correctly at the customer site. In our case, we have connected, so we're going to click on yes. Now we're almost finished. To establish communication from the SafeLock to the customer's WebLink software, we need to complete the following steps. It says, on the entry pad, press menu OK. At my menu, press menu OK again and enter the supercode. Scroll down to initialize lock and press OK. Wait for communication confirmation on entry pad screen. It will say initialization successful. So we're now going to go to the camera and we'll show you. Menu. Menu 23232300. Okay, we're in the menu. Now we'll go scroll down until we see initialize lock, which we see there. Press OK. Activation must be performed with the doors open. Press OK. Waiting for WAP connection. Register device, please wait. Binding device, please wait. Login device, please wait. Initialization success. Okay, this WebLink wireless access point has now been connected to the network. It's talking to the software, and it's also talking to the safe lock, and now I can program this lock from anywhere in the connected world through the software portal. That's the SecureAM, ProLogic, WebLink, and wireless access point setup.